Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. I am Miss Christina with the Wallingford Public Library, and this is the video portion of STEAM Storytime at Home Bread and Butter. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this. It's certainly going to be tasty. So let's just dive in, shall we? My book that I'm sharing with you today is called Sunbread, and it is by Elise Clevin. Sunbread. The wind, it whooshed. The snow, it whirled. The rain streamed down. It sloshed and swirled and washed the colors from the world. Bare trees looked like chilly bones. Children grumbled in their homes. Birds and beasts all wished the sun would show its golden face again. Very dreary, isn't it? We've been having some dreary days, haven't we? A baker missed the sun so much, she took some flour from her hutch, some butter, sugar, eggs, and yeast. She said, I'll bake a sunny feast. Because the real sun likes to hide, I'll make my own small sun inside. She kneaded bread dough rich and gold, glossy, springy, smooth to hold. She shaped a bread so round and grand. It seemed the sun shone in her hands. Isn't that nice? Perhaps the baker's loving touch helped her sunbread grow so much. Perhaps it was the yeast or flour. Something gave that sunbread power. It rose and rose and rose. A smell from heaven filled the nose of every chilly child and dog, every porcupine and hog. They saw that good bread rise and shine and stopped their grumbles, groans, and whines. The bakers made a sun, they cried. The baker let them all inside. And filled them up from toe to head with puffy, hot, delicious bread. Bread so brilliant, bright, and sunny, summer seemed to fill their tummies. Bread so fluffy and so fine, they felt themselves begin to shine. And then, surprise, begin to rise, to float and flutter, flip and fly, light as kites into the sky, and down again to dance and sing. They all joined hands and hooves and wings, and praised the joy good bread can bring. They made a sound so sweet and deep. The real sun woke up from its sleep. It burst out through the lumpy clouds and streamed down on the startled crowd. The sun is here, they gave a cheer. It wants some bread, the baker said. So everyone threw bits of bread, chunks and hunks and crusty crumbs into the sky up to the sun, who ate it up and beamed back down on every city, field, and town. It dried the fur of mouse and dog and warmed the soul of bear and frog. It glittered on the blue-green seas, wove golden ribbons through the trees. Isn't that a beautiful thought? Wove golden ribbons through the trees, sun shining through. It painted colors on the day, melted all the snow away, and brought the shadows out to play. It scattered rainbows soft and bright, fed the plants with its clear lights. streaked the sky red, yellow, pink, and purple, then began to sink. And as the sun slipped down to rest, the baker shouted this request. Come back for breakfast, please, dear son. I'll bake fresh sun bread and sun buns. The baker baked the whole night long. And then, hooray, at crack of dawn, the sun was back to spread its light like honey on each yummy bite, and dance around the world and sing, and all the joy good bread can bring. And now when it's cold and gray and dark and icy, guess who plays with flour, sugar, eggs, and yeast? Guess who bakes bread stars and beasts? Bread birds and flowers, boats and towers, tons of buttery small suns, which shine until the real one comes. The baker and her crew, that's who. And you guys too, when you do the activities, right? So activity 1 is baking bread. Now, the reason bread becomes so fluffy is the yeast. And yeast is actually a fungus. And the fungus that we get, or the yeast that we get out of the packets is actually, we would call it dormant. It's asleep. And to wake it up, you mix it with some water that's just right. I think it's 105 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So you want to use your thermometer because you don't want it to be too hot because then you'll burn it. You don't want it to be too cold because then it won't wake up and it won't work. And you also add some sugar, and the yeast loves to eat sugar. And so in the activity, you'll put those ingredients into a bag and then let it be for like 10 minutes, and then you'll start seeing it bubbling and it look kind of foamy. That's your sign that the yeast has woken up, it's eating, and it is ready to rise. And so you'll start adding the other ingredients. When I did the recipe, my dough ended up being kind of on the wetter side. So it's okay to add some more bread so that you can actually work with it instead of it ending up all on your fingers. Also, if you want to just, like the instructions say, that to take it out and knead it. You can do that if you totally want to do that. It also works if you just want to knead it in the bread or in the bag. That's what I did. You can just do that and get it all together, and that creates the gluten proteins. And then you'll put it into your pan and then let it rise maybe about 30 minutes. You want it to double. And then you bake it in like a 375-degree oven. And then you'll have bread, and it's so good. While you're waiting for your bread to bake, you could start working on activity 2, which is make butter. Now for this one, you absolutely have to use heavy cream. Don't use light cream because that's not going to work. And there's not specific measurements for how much cream to use. It's really going to depend on the container you're using. So if you're using the little plastic cup that I provided in the kit, fill it maybe halfway to 3/4 of the way full, seal it shut, and then you start shake, 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 shake. Now, if you've got a few kids who are doing this, you may just want, and it might work out better for them to all have their own little shaky tubs, or you could have them take turns, do it in like a bigger container. You could use like a jam jar or something, just anything that you can seal shut so it's not gonna leak. So if you got more people doing it, then you can use a bigger container and then, maybe halfway fill it up. And you gotta shake, 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 shake. It's a lot of shaking. After, I'm not even sure, 5-ish minutes, if you open it up, it'll probably look a lot thicker. And that's on its way to being like whipped cream. So if you were to put in a little vanilla, a little sugar or powdered sugar, it'd be very, very tasty. But we don't want whipped cream right now. We want butter. And so you'll seal it back up and just shake, 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 shake some more. If you are to the grown-ups, I'm talking to the grown-ups right now, if it's gonna end up being you doing it all, you can, shake it for a little bit, have the kids shake it, and then you are more than welcome, like no one's gonna judge you if you empty it out and put it into like your stand mixer or use an electric whisk, because you can also make butter that way. If you've ever tried making whipped cream and you accidentally whipped it too much, you're basically turning it into butter. So go ahead and do that. And then once you start getting like a solid mass, you've got your butter. Now what's happening there is that the heavy cream has all these like fat molecules in it. And as you shake it, these fat molecules, they start like clumping together, and they start finding each other, and they clump together, and they clump more and more and more and more and get bigger. And that's that solid mass that you're seeing with the butter that's forming. And the liquid is actually buttermilk. All right, and so then you can spread that on your fresh bread, and it'll be so delicious. And then the third activity is making mold. So you can either answer the question, what's the best way to store your bread so it stays as fresh as possible for a couple days? Or if you like gross things, you could say, what's the fastest way to make mold or grow mold? And so you'll want to brainstorm the different ways that you could possibly store the bread, maybe like in a plastic bag or a paper bag on the counter, maybe in the fridge. If it's in the fridge, are you just gonna have it out? Do you want it inside a plastic bag, a plastic container, or a piece of paper or wax paper or whatever? So you're gonna decide 3 different ways that you're gonna try to store it. And then like your control group is just gonna be a piece of the bread on a plate out on the counter. All right, so have lots of fun, friends. If you have any questions, give us a call at the library. And if you happen to take pictures, I love seeing your pictures that you share with me. It's so awesome. All right, bye-bye.